everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode here on 1950's Farm. I must remember to bring our elevator back. I've just seen it over there on the left side. So we had it over there. When we did some when I did some contract combining. We used the elevator over there to load. So just down the road from Harry was I think in the first episode, maybe the second episode, I said that it was his brother that owned the haulier firm, and it wasn't. It was a local company, and they helped Harry with all of his hauling needs. I can't speak this morning. Yeah, so they helped him out, and so that's why I was using it. And I was loading the lorries down there because obviously the small pull behind combines are not excuse me, are not high enough reach to reach into the lorry trailers. You will see the lorries more and more as we go through, because there is a general turn across the whole of America where trailers become less and less and less and less, and grain, what we know today as grain chasers, and lorries on the ends of the fields, and even lorries driving through the fields, which is something I've never seen in the UK. I mean, when on the farm where I worked, we would have our lorries on the ends of the fields, so they would come into the field, they would sit right on the very end, so there'd be like so either a 3 to 6 meter margin, and they would sit on those margins, and the grain chasers would load those lorries once they were full. So it just always meant that, and each grain chaser, I think, if I remember, I can't remember if it was one grain chaser filled one lorry, or if it was two loads from the grain chaser filled a lorry. I can't remember which way around it was now. But I am going to go up this year, if I can figure out a way of recording and different things. I have asked permission, and they've said, like, I'm more than welcome to go up and to do some actual real life recording, of the way they work, and so I'm hoping to do that, but that it's not a guarantee, because as I say, technology and me, we don't really get on, and I need some way of being able to record first off, and not only that, but record in decent quality, because I've tried doing a little bit for another little project that I'm sort of doing, which will be for a second channel. I've been recording with my tablet, and my tablet is absolutely awful video quality, so I can't use that. So as I say, it's with me and technology, I don't really understand it. I don't really get it as such or whatever, and yeah, so it means that I might not have a way of doing it, but I'm sure I'll figure it out. I'm trying to sort of and thing is, as these videos keep going, more and more people are messaging me and saying, oh, I can help with that, or I can, and so it's brilliant. It really is brilliant. And like I say, I've got, sort of Grain Man. If you haven't seen his channel before, go check him out. Absolutely fantastic content. Give him a subscribe, because, as I say, it's really good. But I've got him that wants to help with freeing me up some memory by sort of getting rid of any sort of files, or sort of things I'm not really using, and also as well, and things that I don't really need on my computer, because literally all I do with my computer now, I mean, a few years ago, up until probably last summer, I was writing on my PC as well. As I said, you know, I do enjoy sort of the way I do it, creative writing, really. But you know, write novels, write stories, you know, about farming, about life, about, you know, sort of murder. You know, I don't now, but I used to write for a lady that didn't live all that far from me, um, and she would come to me and say, you know, James, I want this. This is how I want it to go. This is what I want to happen. Write me it, and I used to write it for her, and then she would sort of, you know, pay me, you know, for my work and for my efforts. But and I used to write as well for a few magazines, again, just as a sort of kind of freelance thing. I used to just write articles and then send them off to the appropriate magazines that I thought might be interested in them. And, you know, occasionally I would get published, and, you know, more often than not, I wouldn't. I did have a few magazines that I was published in pretty much all of the time. Um, and I would get like a minimal, you know, sort of fee, if you like, for doing that. So again, it, you know, was never going to earn me any real money. But the fact that I was sort of trying to do that as well as work, you know, back when I was sort of working, it kind of worked well, because I didn't have the time to sit and write, you know, properly. But so, you know, apart from sort of, I don't even do that now with my PC. Now it is all about gaming. Now it is all about YouTube. It is all about, you know, farming sim. And, you know, I've been watching the videos over the weekend, just been from FarmCon. And at first, you know, I was a bit skeptical of the game. I was a bit kind of like, wow, it's the same game in a new package. Having seen now quite a few of the videos, I would probably withdraw that comment now and say, yes, they're actually, from what we've been given and from what we've seen, it looks as if they have made genuine steps forward in terms of the AI helpers, in terms of GPS being in the game now, in terms of just so, I mean, like the god rays and things that they're talking about. I mean, I don't understand any of that, so I wouldn't possibly begin to comment on that, because I, you know, I have no idea. You know, so you know, I don't know, and it would be wrong for me to comment on you know, things that I don't really understand. Um, but yeah, so, but as I say, for the the AI helpers and stuff like that, you know, it looks as if they've made genuine steps forward. I've heard a rumour, and I think it was just a rumour. I don't think it's been confirmed. I don't think anything's been said about it from an official point of view, but I've heard a rumour that peas may well be coming into the new game as well. And if they do, that would be absolutely fantastic, because I am desperate for farming sim to have a pea viner. It was one of my favourite jobs in the year on the farm. I didn't always get to go on the P team, you know, just because it was, you know, not really my job, if you like. Um, but I think 2 summers I helped out. One year I did the day week, so I did a week in the day. I think one of the lads probably had a holiday or whatever, and so I did the day shifts, which is 6 till 6. And then the second year I did the night shift, which is still 6 till 6, but obviously through the night. It was really good, really interesting, really fun work, really hard work. Um, Lots of angry householders that would get woken at sort of, you know, 3 a.m. in the morning from the pea viners moving into the field. And the pea viners, once they were up and working in the fields, were relatively quiet. Uh, but the way that we sort of all move into the field at the same time, there was 6 pea viners. There was 3 tractors and trailers. We all had, because I was on the tractor and trailer, we had hydraulic scissor lift trailers that would then back up to the lorries either on the road or again on the end of the field, depending on sort of weather conditions and sort of field conditions. But and then what we would do is we would back up to the lorries and then just overload the lorries via the scissor lift trailers, and the lorries would then go straight off to the factory, and then within 12 hours those peas would be on a supermarket shelf, either Tesco's or whatever supermarket it was that we were sort of selling to at that time. Because the thing was, we didn't just do we because supermarkets control how much farmers earn and what they get for their produce. So we, as a farm, we did a lot of like our potatoes. We sold those as our product, and so therefore, rather than selling the potatoes to Tesco's for them to bag it up, and I'm only using Tesco's because it's the first name that has sort of come into my head. So we did use other supermarkets, and the other supermarkets are just the same as Tesco's. It's not a Tesco thing, so I'm not just picking on or singling out Tesco's, but we'll just say the supermarkets. That might be fairer. But yeah, so we wouldn't just send them off to the supermarkets as potatoes and let them package them. We would package them ourselves. We would do all of that, and then we would sell them a percentage to supermarkets, and then a percentage then to independents, fish and chip outlets, and restaurants and places like that. And that's how they make their money. And it's the same with the like the other veg, the onions, the carrots, the collies, all of the sort of saladies and stuff like that. We would package them ourselves and then sell them as our product, so that we weren't selling them just the raw carrots or whatever. We were selling them as packaged, as all ready to go. And because you were saving all the supermarkets the costs and times of packaging, they would pay slightly more for it because you'd done all their work for them. All that would happen is that we would have inspections, once every, usually sort of, but I think it was supposed to be once every 6 months, but it was usually about once a year. And I had heard of occasions where a representative from the supermarket would literally turn up, would look into the factory and then go, yep, that's fine, and not actually take a look at what we were doing. So but so that's what we would do with ours. And we had a farm shop as well, where we would send quite a lot of our produce, so a bit like Diddley Squat really, but on a much bigger scale. So, and we didn't just have one farm shop, we had sort of multiple farm shops around Lincolnshire, Cambridgeshire, Norfolk, and sort of places like that. So it would be a case of we would also sell our own produce ourselves, and that was how we would sort of get around the monopolies of the supermarkets. Pretty much most of the milk that we produced would go to our own products and our own farm shops. We did sell milks, obviously. Milk wise, I don't know what the literage was a day or how they worked it out. Like I said before, I occasionally went over onto the dairy side of things and helped out, like with silage carting and stuff like that, but I didn't really take any interest, and I didn't really like working over there. As I've said sort of many times before, I'm not an animal person. I just don't care for it. And I know that probably sounds terrible, but it just wasn't something that I was interested in, and I think after a year or two, I think Adrian kind of got to the point where he understood that I wasn't really digging the work over on that side of the farm or the business. So very rarely do I ever get sent over there, but sometimes needs must, and I accept that. And that was what I would sort of do. So yeah, as I say, right, I'm not gonna record this bit. I'm just gonna nip off and change the spray to herbicide, and then I will be back. But like I say, I won't record this bit because I've got to go all the way to the store, and it's not even worth me time lapsing it. So I'll see you in a second. Right, I'm back again. So we've been and filled up with some herbicide, and now we'll just spray these off, these weeds off, just to make sure they don't really come through the crop. And then we'll also take a look at the other field. I might even just give that a quick spray with herbicide just to make sure that nothing was missed. I did plough that field, but as anyone who knows who's been watching this series, the map has a little bit of an issue where it's what I call texture tearing, so it kind of misses bits that are right in line with the implement, and then sometimes like this sprayer, it will stretch another 4 meters beyond its sort of width. So I refer to that as texture tearing. I don't know what the proper term for it is, but that's what I call it anyway. But we'll just have a quick look at that, and as I say, I might just spray some on there anyway. There shouldn't be any in there because I have already sprayed it, but it won't hurt to spray it again and just give it a sort of good clean up, because we're the 1st of August now. So to have a good clean up now before harvest will be a good thing for the crop, and obviously for profits, because having weeds in FS does lower profits. I don't think it lowers it significantly, but it does lower them a little bit. But yeah, so let's see what happens. So one thing I wanted to mention, which I didn't realise until the other day when I was searching through YouTube, and I actually stumbled across their channel. So the farm that I worked for, they did quite a lot of work for another company. We did quite a bit of sort of contracting and stuff like that, and the firm that we would go off and do work for were very good, and they were a very big farm. I think they farm roughly between 15 and 20,000 acres across Cambridgeshire, Lincolnshire, Nottinghamshire, and I think I'm right in saying they go into Bedfordshire as well. But yeah, so they're a big firm, and I stumbled across another channel on YouTube, which hang on, I'm now double spraying this, so I've just killed those soybeans in real life. I forgot, it's because last time I did it down here, but I think this is about wide enough. Yeah, so PX Farms, go check them out if you like real farming videos. And they're a farm that run very similar to the way that we used to run and operate, in terms of harvests, and in terms of sorting out machinery, and having the latest machinery. They were they're very similar to what we do, and as I say, the farm that I worked on doesn't do YouTube videos, but that's a farm that I found, that I stumbled across looking for a farm. I was looking for one of the farms that we used to do a lot of work for, and that's PX Farms YouTube channel that I found that work very similar to the way that we used to work. And as I say, it's a channel that I've sort of stumbled across, And wowee, do they have some kit. I mean, you know, the farm that I worked on had some kit, but geez, do they have some kit. It is really, that is a massive operation that they've got going there. And as I say, I don't know whether it was that farm that we used to help out. I can't say that for certain. Um, Mainly because I can't remember the name of the farm where I used to go. But um, as I say, I sort of, I don't know, right? Like when I was at work, you know, I'd have a memory that, I could just rely on. You know, I'd literally be given any piece of information, and you know, I'd go off, and I wouldn't need to write it down. I wouldn't need to, you know. Now I find that since I've not been working now for the last sort of 8 years or so, 6 or 8 years, whatever it is, my memory's rubbish. I just like, I've, you know, sort of things that I've held in my mind for years and years and years and years are suddenly no longer in my mind, and I'm sort of like, you know, it's slightly worrying. And I did go to the GP about it and said, you know, my memory's not very good, and but he you know, sort of reassured me and said, no, actually it's because you don't, you know, try doing brain training, the brain training apps and brain exercises and stuff like that, and you'll find that over a period of time it will start to come back. So that's what I've started doing. But yeah, my memory from the past, honestly, is not great, man. It's not great. I'm probably not getting every row here, but I don't mind that. Because a lot of, we did weed this, as you saw from either the last video or the video before. I can't remember which one it was now, but yeah, so we did weed this, so I'm not too worried that I'm not getting every single row, just because as I say, we did come along and weed it, and you know, we sort of got the vast majority of the weeds out. So you know, it's all good stuff there. Grass needs rolling. That's going to be the next episode, I would imagine. This one's going to be a bit of a chatty episode. Actually, I might crack on with that now while I think about it, and then I'll do the other spraying bit off camera, just because obviously that will give us then a change of jobs. And a little bit of variety. As I say, sort of doing a bit of a chatty video this time around, just because time is quite short today. I've got quite a few meetings to go to in regards to my little boy, and as I say, because of my schedule and it's quite tight, I can't afford not to record. But sometimes you know, doing it like this just helps me out a little bit. You know, the next sort of episode that I've got to record is Glengarry, so that'll be a longer video, but I'll have more time, thankfully. So yeah, so that's the reason why today's video is a little bit is because I need to do a video, and I want to do a good video. Obviously, I don't, you know, obviously don't want to use that as an excuse to do, you know, anything sort of slack or lazy or anything like that. You know, so I want to do a good video, but you know, I sort of have to compromise that as well at the same time. Well, not compromise that, but you know, sort of try and do two things at once. You know, didn't explain that very well. I've got to admit, today's meeting has got me a little bit on edge. You know, I don't know why that's funny, but it has. So yeah, but so we'll get this done, get this rolled, and then this will be ready for hopefully another cut, and then this will go. This will go either wheat or soybeans next year. I'm thinking it will be more likely soybeans, just because I do want another cut off it, and I think we might miss the wheat window for planting with having another cut of wheat off here. So of grass. Sorry, I told you I'm all over the place today. Yeah, so another cut of grass may just put us past the wheat window, so it's not too bad of an issue, but you know, we do need to sort of plan ahead if we can. I want to get another beef stock pen, so Harry didn't quite increase it as quick as what I'm looking to do. Like I said before, it's kind of, I have to sort of take what has happened in real life and then sort of almost translate that into farming sim, and as and where I have to sort of make adjustments to make it fit, and to make it you know, so that these videos are hopefully interesting, and you know, and sort of variety. I know, you know, as I've said before many times, I apologize for, I don't apologize, sorry, for doing, you know, lots of videos of hay cutting and, you know, different things, just because, you know, we're a farming channel and that is farming, and unfortunately, you know, I do 2, 3, 4 series is whatever, you know, the series count is going to go up again in a minute, you know, in a little while, with the farm manager series coming. That is virtually now ready to go. I've got 1 or 2 little bit more bits to do on that, and because I'm currently building a farm on there, a starter farm that we're going to start with. So the map that I'm going to use is, it come with a farm where I'm going to use it, and all I'm going to do is extend that farm a little bit and just build onto it a little bit, just so it's a little bit more in keeping with the type of game that I want, or series that I want to make. So it's basically a farm manager series. So whilst I will do tractor driving, whilst I will do you know, jobs on the farm, it's sort of kind of more about managing a set number of workers and making sure that those workers have work all year round. See, that's what annoys me about this texture grab thing, is sometimes it reaches 3 meters further across, and then other times it goes absolutely you know, to the width of the machine, and then I miss bits because I'm sort of trying to calculate the extra width. See, like here, extra width. So it is frustrating. It's very frustrating when people do make these maps and convert them from sort of old games, older versions of the game, to the newer versions. I do wish they would sort this out as well, because it really does have an impact on the type of you know, sort of farming that I do. I didn't realise this map had this when I chose the map for the series. So when I did all my testing, I did it with GPS. If you use GPS and keep an exactly straight line, this doesn't really happen as much. But if you don't keep it in an exact straight line, then it tears all over the place, and it makes it really hard for sowing, and it makes it really hard for ploughing, and, you know, really hard for sort of, you know, jobs like this, because you're just not sure which, you know, what width to go with. But I mean, yeah, so no, as I say, that save, as it's about managing the people. It's not going to be so there's a few series, you know, Daggerwin and Scruff, where they do character talking, and I think other YouTubers probably do that now too. I'm not confident or knowledgeable enough at the moment to do something like that. It's something that I would like to do for the future, because like I say, you know, I do write to a relatively reasonable standard, and I do believe that I could come up with you know, a really good story, and in particular this save lends itself to that, because, as I say, it's more about the farm manager and his life managing the farm, if you like. And as I say, I will be doing work, so I'll be doing nearly all of the, well, I will be doing all of the drilling, unless it's bird cover and stuff like that, then I can get the workers to do that, because tram lines won't be required. The reason I do the drilling is because course play isn't that good. at being accurate to putting in tram lines. I've tried it a few times, and it worked well once, but I haven't got it to work well since. And the thing that I'm finding is it really does depend on the shape of the field that you're in, and that's incidentally something that I would like the base game of the new farming sim game to do. Tramlining, it is a massive part of farming, an integral part of farming, because farms just would not be able to spray with the accuracy that they spray with if it wasn't for having tram lines. And none of Giants' drills, and also another thing as well, while we're on the tram line subject as well, to have markers on the bout markers on the drills that actually are the right width for the drill. Because I've said before, they built a lovely 8-meter Verdestat C drill and put 6-meter markers on it. It just doesn't make sense, so they basically took the drill they had, converted it, stretched it out a bit to 8 meters, but didn't bother with the markers, and so the markers are still reaching out for a 6-meter width, and the drill's 8-meter. So again, for someone like myself who tries to do everything as sort of near to life as possible, it's really frustrating because you've got a nice drill that you can't use, just because of the bout markers. And people sort of, I've had a couple of people say to me, well, just use GPS then. Well, that's fine, but GPS doesn't work around the outsides of the field. And even if GPS does work around the outside of the field, which it doesn't because it goes on terrain angles, and if fields don't correspond to the angles that the GPS goes to, then it becomes an almost impossible task to sort out. So you end up, having to guess the GPS line. So around the outside of the field, I do need the markers because the markers keep me roughly right, sort of for the tram lines on the outside. So it's really frustrating for someone like myself. I know for the vast majority of FS players, it doesn't really bother them because they don't use them anyway, and they don't really do tramlining anyway. Which of course you don't have to do. I mean, farming sim with course play and different things, course play will quite happily spray you a field without using tram lines. But for someone like myself, that's the way I did it. That's the way the farm that I worked on still does it. So it's the way I want to do it on farming sim, And yeah, so that little rant over with. I feel a lot better now. I got that off my chest. So yeah, that's kind of thing. So as I say, on the save, I will be doing the drilling, and I'll probably do little bits of sort of combining, but we have a combine driver on the farm, and different things, and we have a sprayman and different things. So the work will be sort of spread across me doing the bits that sort of course play and stuff can't do, and then course play sort of doing the rest, in terms of having workers on the farm. It's just that the workers won't have voices, because I have tried a few AI generated voices and they do sound like robots, and they do sound like computer generated voices, and it kind of detracts, because I recorded an episode and put all the voices in, and when I watched the episode with no sound, but for the fact there was no sound in it, it was really interesting. As soon as I added the voices and then watched that same episode again, the voices spoilt it because it just sounded like a robot talking. These companies are like, ultra realistic voices and what have you. Well, they're not ultra realistic because they don't have emotion. That's the first thing. So you can't write emotional scenes, because they don't do emotion, and they're all on sort of one tone, and also as well, a lot of them don't recognise punctuation all that good. So it ends up that you know, you have a video with robots in, and I don't really want that. You know, I wish I knew how sort of Scruff did his, because his voices are really, really good. The only thing I can think of, because he gets emotion in them as well, is that he has people that speak the parts for him. That's the only thing I can come up with. And Daggerwin as well. Although I do think Daggerwin does do quite a lot of the voices and just sort of changes his voice, which again is really good and really clever. And I have one of those annoying voices where even if I try and talk silly or try and change my voice, you still know it's me. And I know this because I've tried to do voice pranks before on the phone, and people have gone, "James, shut up." So there's no point me trying to do that. But for those that it works for, sort of good luck to, really. But yeah, so that's the issues that I have with that one. But yeah, so I say hoping that series will come out. I'm hoping the first episode should come out towards the end of the week, if not beginning of next week. I keep saying this, and then I sort of get to the point where I record the episode, which I've already done, and then I find another issue that I have to overcome first. Otherwise, it's gonna sort of spoil the ambiance of the game. Of the save and the feel of it. So but it's virtually there. Um, it's virtually there, and I'm sort of really excited for that series because I just want to see how well it will work. As I say, having workers on the farm, permanent workers, um, and having to find them jobs all year round is going to be a very interesting thing to see whether or not I can do it, because we don't start off that big, but the point is that we grow, the business grows, the business diversifies, the business sort of changes directions and uh, and that sort of stuff. And it's how, as a farm, we cope, as a business we cope, as a farm manager we cope with those changes, and how we're able to adapt the farm very quickly, because obviously working on the farm, I mean, we got bought our own kit that we were responsible for, that we had to look after. And I think the farm were very clever in the fact that whenever you were going to be bought something, they took you along so that you heard the price of it. And I think that was a very clever move, because certainly for me, I'd been working on the farm for about a month and a half. And the first farm that I worked on, very rarely did they have anything new. Apart from the time I was there, we did have a new combine, a new W Series combine, John Deere, and but we never got to know the price of it or whatever. And I have to be honest, it was just a combine. That's how I felt about it. Went to the new farm, as I say, I've been there, like, I did sort of kind of did my trial period of 13 weeks. Once they kind of realised, actually, yeah, we're going to be keeping him, and he wants to stay, and what have you. And they took me to Chandler's, and said, like, well, what they did was they told me that I had to choose a tractor with this much horsepower, a maximum of this much horsepower, could have any brand that I wanted, had to be on tracks. That was another stipulation. It had to be on tracks. And beyond that, it was sort of my choice, and I had to choose a plough, and I had to choose a drill, and I had to choose whatever. And of course, they took me then to Chandler's because I wanted a Challenger. They took me to the John Deere dealers, where who were the agents for Verdestat as well. And they took, again, Chandler's did the Lemkin plough that I had and the Kvervlen plough that I had as well. And of course I got to hear how much all of the equipment was, and what that did for me was that made me feel like I'd spent the money. And a lot of the lads on the farm kind of said the same, that when they went and heard how much this stuff was costing, it was kind of like, geez, I feel like I'm a part of the buying process. I feel like I am a part of the machinery sort of process as well, and so therefore, I damn well want to look after it, and I think that's why they did it. I mean, it was never said that's why they did it, but I think that was why they did do it, because it gave you an understanding of how much this machinery was costing. I mean, that day when we went to Chandler's, and they bought a Lemkin plough, a Challenger, a Kverveland plough as well, um, and I can't remember. We bought something else while we were there. I can't remember what it was. I think it was subsoiler legs actually for the plough. So we used to fit subsoiler legs between the furrows of the plough, and then I could subsoil while I was ploughing as well. And yeah, to hear that come, just short of 600 grand, and because the Challenger was fully spec'd, so you were literally, yes, Adrian was there, but you were sat in the office, and when you were sort of saying that you wanted this Challenger, and then Adrian was like, spec it out to what you want it. It's going to be your home for the vast majority of the year. Spec it out to how you want it, and how you're going to feel comfortable in there. And as I say, I think it was, I can't remember, it was just under 600 grand or just over 600 grand for those bits of kit. And obviously we used to get it discounted a little bit as well, because between John Deere and Chandler's, that's where 99% of the kit came from. We did have a couple of New Holland tractors on the farm, a couple of T7s and a T8 with tracks on the back, but they were few and far between. As I say, and I never got to drive them either. They were set jobs. They had set jobs on another sort of area of the farm. So as I say, I never got to drive them, but occasionally I'd be working in the field with them, with my Challenger or whatever. But I never got to go on them, so I couldn't comment what they were like to drive. But yeah, once you realise how much this stuff costs, then you start to take care of it, and that's why in a sort of in the Sugar Beet episode on Britons, when I was talking about the lad that came and his attitude, that's why it made us so cross, because obviously, and I've said before, our pay was our pay, so our hourly rate was what we always got, but then we would get performance bonuses, so on yield, so anything above a yield for a set crop, anything on or above that, you would get a bonus, and obviously the bigger the yield, the bigger the bonus. There were other bonuses as well that you would get. So you would get like an individual bonus. So if your maintenance of your machinery came in below a set figure, you would get a bonus for that, because it meant you were looking after your kit. It meant you were treating it well, you were working efficiently, but at the same time you were also working carefully, because you were looking after the kit. And so all of that was sort of, so to have a lad come in with that attitude and start doing the things that he was doing, it made us mad. Whichever one of us would have been working with him, it made us cross, because he was now affecting our bonuses at the end of the year. And machinery as well across the farm was taken, maintenance was taken into account. And if machinery, I know we had floaters, what we called floaters, and they were not really assigned to any one particular person, but if those floater machines were being regularly abused and mistreated and needing repairing, then as a collective you would take a hit on that, because they didn't belong to any one person. You would take a collective across the farm hit on your bonuses for that. So it made us cross when people came down, that came onto the farm, you know, to help us out or to maybe see. I mean, for him, he was on trial because, you know, they wanted another tractor driver. They wanted another general tractor driver, which meant that you would go across all of the business. So you would work on, you know, the arable, the veg, the dairy, the just trying to think what else they did. Um, So the anaerobic digesters and stuff like that, you would work across there because that was their own team. They used to do populars and stuff like that for you know, for the electricity and biogas plants and stuff like that. So yeah, you know, and you know, he would have had a very good job, but you know, his attitude stunk, and as I say, it made us all cross. And the thing was, you know, if we complained enough about a person, then, and you know, as I did about that lad, and to be fair, you know, he also did it himself because he would turn up late every day. So you know, it wasn't a case of me just singling him out or picking on him. You know, he was turning up late. He was abusing the equipment in a way, and what have you, and not sort of doing what I was asking him to do. And you know, so he was moved on at the end of that week that he had with us. I think he had 2 weeks in total with us. At the end of the second week, he was moved on. I think it was 2 weeks. It might have been a week. I know we had a couple of lads that, although they didn't have necessarily the attitude that he had, but you know, they had sort of something similar, and you know, that they were moved on quite quickly. Um, you know, that there was a sort of a standard that you had to set in terms of, you know, manners, politeness, you know, working as a team, you know, all of that good stuff. And if you didn't meet that, they didn't want you on their farm, because obviously if he went out, so again, being a general tractor driver, he would, you know, if I wasn't available for contract, you know, if I was busy ploughing or busy, you know, doing whatever, you know, he would then go out, you know, you know, sort of, and do that, you know, work on our behalf. And of course, he's the face of our company, or she, because you know, as I say, we had girls work for us too, you know, but he or she would be the face of our company, and you know, you're expected to be a good representation of the company, you know, so you're expected to be friendly, polite. I mean, I'm not particularly outgoing, but I'm always polite to people. I'll talk to people if they talk to me, you know, and I'll stand and chat, and you know, and that's not a problem. I'm just not one of these people that would probably go out of my way to start that. So you know, I would be more kind of, if you approach me and start talking to me, I'm more than happy to stand and talk to you for an hour. But I'm a bit shy in sort of coming forward and sort of being the initiator of, you know, any sort of conversation and you know, stuff like that. So that's, you know, it's just the way it was. Anyway, I've gone on far too long in this episode. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the episode here. Like I say, it's just a little short video today, just because you know, I'm sort of required to be elsewhere for most of the day today. I don't think it's going to be a short meeting. To be fair, there's a heck of a lot of people going. So as I say, I hopefully it's been interesting. Hopefully you've enjoyed listening to me. If not, I apologise sincerely. And as I say, you know, the next episode that I do when I get back at some point will be Glengarry, and that will be the contractor series, and that will come out tomorrow, as long as all goes well. But anyway, for now, thanks ever so much for listening. If you haven't done already, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We'd really like to hit 450 subscribers by the 1st of August. We're well on the way. I know you can help. Please don't forget to hit that share button as well. The more you share the videos, the more people get to know, the better it is. You know, I really appreciate it. And all that's left for me to say is thanks ever so much for joining me in this episode. I've really enjoyed having your company, and I can't wait to see you again next time. Bye for now.